Hi, I'm Chris, and on this channel, I offer tips, guidance, and new perspectives on anxiety and OCD based on my own recovery. Release videos every week, guiding through the process of what worked for me in recovering from anxiety and OCD and transform myself into a calm, happy, and optimistic person. I will be releasing videos giving new ways of seeing life, how to resist compulsions, how to quieten the mind, how to see intrusive thoughts and OCD in a new way, in the hopes of spreading this message and helping others to recover as well. Today, I'm going to talk about trauma, what it is, how it's stored in the body, and what we can do to help release it and move on from its grasp. Now, trauma seems to be quite misunderstood, and it's only now that people are starting to wake up to what trauma really is and how it's stored in the body. I want to talk about how trauma contributes to anxiety and OCD. So, first of all, what is trauma? We know what traumatic events are. Normally, growing up, we all experience traumatic events. These can be seemingly small scenarios, just like a parent leaving a room or telling us off, which can leave us with a sense of abandonment. Or this can go all the way through to some horrific assaults, sexual, physical, emotional um, events in our life, which really leave a scar on us. So, what happens after these events? Quite often, we move on with life, and these events are stored within us, within our mind, and normally they are tried to be forgotten about because the situation is so horrific that our unconscious mind thinks it is doing us a favor by hiding these memories and then repressing them. So, quite often, we have traumas from childhood, which we just don't even remember because our unconscious mind has hidden it from us because it doesn't want us to experience the pain which we suffered. So, what happens in the body is everything, if you remember back in school, we're taught that everything is energy. Our bodies are energy, our atoms are made of energy, everything around us is energy. So, this means that thoughts are also energy. So when we go through these traumatic periods of life, this releases energy within us, which is then stored within our body. Because we then repress these memories and we don't go back and experience them again to release this energy is stored within our atoms. So it doesn't help that society tells us to keep our emotions stuck down as well. When we're younger, and if we are crying, things like this, we'll get told to be quiet. Phrases like "children are seen and not heard." I can understand in some way. For instance, in school, if all the children were crying and screaming and yelling all the time, that would be a very unproductive environment, and society just can't handle that sort of scenario. But what I've learned in my recovery is that we are emotional creatures who have learned to think, but people with anxiety and OCD tend to try and be thinking creatures who control their emotions. But this isn't the right way round. This just isn't how it works. Evolutionarily speaking, we had a subconscious mind which was emotional and animal like, and it did perfectly fine without the thinking mind that keeping us alive, keeping us safe, and doing the things that we needed to do back before we evolved into human beings. It's only recently speaking that the conscious mind was then added on to the subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is where the thinking and the logic and the reason comes from. But we need to learn that it's perfectly okay for our emotions to come out. What actually happens is that when we experience our emotions fully, without feeding them with our conscious mind and our thoughts and our compulsions and our worries and our what if stories, we actually access the energy that has been stored from these childhood traumas, and we can let it vent out of us. So we need to feel the emotion as fully as we possibly can and stay out of the story. Now, because these traumas from childhood are often very scary, very painful, and it's not nice to go back and visit them, OCD actually steps in to assist us. As crazy as it sounds, OCD thinks that it's helping us by distracting us from accessing these traumas which are held within the subconscious. So if we're constantly focusing on what if stories in the future, or about our compulsions, about washing, about cleaning, lining things up, worrying what people will think of us, controlling everything in our lives, being a perfectionist, being a workaholic, it means that we're distracted and we won't think about going into the subconscious mind and accessing these traumas which have been stored there for so long and which are the source of a lot of pain and frustration. So lots of people live in a constant state of worry, fear, anxiety, and they don't understand what it is. Eckhart Tolle, in The Power of Now, calls this the pain body. It's where the emotions are not experienced fully. So they're trapped within us and they cause a, a heaviness, a lethargy, a negativity, and contribute to ill health, depression, anxiety, and OCD. So the way forward is to be able to safely experience your emotions. The deep past traumatic emotions are probably only good to really experience in a safe environment, perhaps with a therapist who really understands anxiety and OCD and can guide you through the process, um, or with a close friend who can comfort you and calm you down as you go through this process. I potentially will make a video on the process of visiting these traumas and managing to vent the energy out of us, which in my own experience instantly makes you feel happier and more optimistic, and it actually feels like a weight is lifted off of your shoulders. This is one of the main factors to emotional freedom. So, as I recovered from anxiety and OCD, one of the first steps that I took before being brave enough to visit these traumas and release the stuck energy that was inside me was to really be able to see anxiety in a new way. I used to think I don't want to be anxious because it was scary and it was uncomfortable. But I changed my mindset from it's scary and uncomfortable to excellent trapped energy from these past traumas and these energies which have been stored within my body through thinking and worrying too much is finally being released, and this is the key to my emotional freedom. So I kept reminding myself of this all the time. One of the first places where these traumas began to release is places where I'd received physical injury. I've had quite a lot of surgery over the years, and I would find the places where I had scars would begin just twitching on their own and shaking, and that would used to scare me, thinking, what's wrong? Why is it doing this? But instead, knowing what I know now, I just focused on it. I just allowed the energy to release without thinking about what this could be. What does it mean? Is there anything wrong? I just let the energy just shake, just leave my body and vent out of me. And this strangely went through all of the scars that I had around my body, and once they were gone, it went into the more typical anxiety, whereas I had extremely sweaty hands and I would just focus on on the sweat, on my hands tingling, on the emotions within me, and just let those vent out. So if we can do this, and if we can focus on our anxiety, but separate the emotion from the thoughts, if we can just focus solely on what is happening within our body and feel it fully, we can begin to let this energy release from us. It might take a long time, but if you can bravely step forward into accepting that what is happening inside your body is is what's happening inside your body, and you don't need to fear what's happening. You just need to see it as a wonderful thing, and this energy within you is escaping, allowing you to be freer, lighter, and move on with your life. This is an excellent mindset to adopt. So that is the beginning process of dealing with this stuck energy within us. Until next time, thank you for watching.